it is now 2024.
It is so good to see you.
All right, it has clearly been a minute. We had Thanksgiving and all the holidays, and you guys know how it can be. It can be a lot, and sprinkle in there then fertility appointments and just trying to figure out all of our next steps. It was a lot, and I'm about to fill you in on everything that has happened between September and today. Let's get right to it. I really left a thank you hanging for what we're doing, where we're at, egg retrieval, no egg retrieval, transfer, like what's next, what happened with my reproductive immunologist appointment, so many things. So I'm gonna try to fill you in on everything. We are also packing for a trip to Florida, hence everything in this crib. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed and who has been here, who has been following along. I can't tell you how much it means to me, and I'm so appreciative. If you are new here, I am an IVF mama. After 6 years of infertility and trying to conceive, we have our rainbow baby, Ava, and we are now starting our second part of our journey, trying to grow again. I have my notebook here, so if I am looking down, it's because I took notes, and I still know I'm gonna forget something. So I think where I left off, is my reproductive immunology appointment with my new doctor. Hey guys, good morning. Super early day. I have my reproductive immunologist today. Mommy has a very big doctor's appointment today. Super early day for us. We just got to the doctor's office and waiting for Glenn to get here. I've seen an RI before, but it was all virtual, so this was all new to me as far as like what to expect. We did a long, in-depth ultrasound. It was transvaginal, it was abdominal, and they also looked at my thyroid. So I had the ultrasound and went really fast. It felt fast, at least, even though I think it was an hour. You'd have to have a full bladder, but thankfully they did that part of the ultrasound first, so then I can use the restroom right away and then resume the ultrasound. So thank goodness, because I thought I was going to have to hold my bladder for the entire hour. And luckily that was not the case. Everything is in one location, which is so nice. So you kind of just are going from room to room to room for a few hours. So the first hour was the ultrasound. The second thing that I did, I believe, was blood work. I have done some of the labs with my other RI, so I didn't have to do as much, but it was still a lot. We did 18 vials of blood. Did have to fast for the labs, but they did let you bring food. So after my labs, I was immediately able to eat. After that, I met with a nurse practitioner and talked about my entire health history. One of the things that I wish I was better prepared for, there were a lot of questions that she had asked me that I simply just forgot. I know I have the information, I know I have the details, but trying to go back and remember everything can be really hard. Ended up getting, everything that we needed. And then after that, the nurse practitioner also did an exam. So it was very thorough. This is the part where it got really hard for me. So afterwards, I was super excited to meet the doctor. I don't know what I thought. Truthfully, I'm like, what did I think going into this appointment? Like, what did I think this was going to be about? I don't know. I just didn't even think that I could get bad news. Like, I really thought that I had all my diagnoses and that everything was going to be fine. I knew there was a chance, of course, that she was going to tell me something, but like, I didn't expect that to be at this appointment. I walk in there and we like introduce ourselves and stuff like that. Just kind of like, boom, like, you have adenomyosis. And I was like, excuse me? Like, I was like, oh, you mean endometriosis? Like, I know I have endo. And she was like, no, adenomyosis. And I swear I must have been like a deer in headlights because it wasn't clicking. I was like, no, like, I don't have that. I've heard people talk about it, but I never really knew what it was. I had this like thought in my mind that if you have adenomyosis, like you have terrible cramping and all this pain with your cycles and things like that. So I literally was like, you're looking at the wrong labs. Could not believe that I was being told that I have this condition. I was truly in denial. I really was. And I was just in so much shock, so much disbelief, and I was so scared that I could not process anything else. Like I felt like I was shaking, and I felt totally shooken up. I already have endo, I have polycystic ovaries, I have all these genetic factors that play a role in my ability to keep and stay pregnant. Now I have this. Then not only do I have adenomyosis, I have a short cervix, and my blood flow looked poor. I was like, oh, great. Great. Not only did I find out about adeno and my cervix and the blood flow, but they also found a nodule on my thyroid. I was like, okay, there's a lot going on there. So I had a lot of worry and fear, and I thought we were going to talk about genetics and what this process would look like. I was just not expecting to hear that I have another condition. When I heard what this condition is and what it means for trying to conceive, I just sat and cried. I looked at the back seat and I see, my daughter, she was there. And I didn't want her to see me so distraught.
I can't catch a break.
And I didn't know what to do. I did everything that I did to get her. And so part of me was like, I can do this again. I can do this again. And another part of me was like, I can't do this again. I can't do this again. I tried really hard to stay positive, but I couldn't. I could not find it in me to have the strength to say we're going to get through this. I just could not deal. I could not get out of my head and out of my fear. I cried the entire way home. It was really hard. I allowed myself time to just process and try to make sense of it all and try to just process what this means for us. Did I have this before? Did I have this when we were trying to conceive Ava? Is this new? Did this come after I had her? Where did this come from? I don't really have any typical endo symptoms or adenomyosis symptoms. Those who do not know, adenomyosis, it's a condition that affects the uterus and can be difficult for a fertility journey. Not impossible, but difficult. And after that appointment, I just felt like a hot mess. It was just oh my gosh, I feel like I just made the worst first impression. It was really hard to have to feel like you have to be brave when all you want to do is just cry. And it took everything in me to stay strong in that appointment, and I still feel like I failed. One of my biggest concerns is did I have this before? Because it was so hard to get pregnant and stay pregnant before I had Ava. Getting to her felt so hard. 3 egg retrievals and 3 embryo transfers and 3 losses. And to me, thinking if this is new, I don't even want to go there. I can't even, I literally can't even think about it. I'm praying that I had it before and that we got through it, because if this is new, it scares me so much that I can't even think about it. I just don't know if I can do it. How much do I have in me to do any of this? What do we do? And all I can control is how I'm taking care of myself, the doctors on our team, and the steps that we take. But beyond that, I have to just trust and let things play out. I have to try to stay positive and be okay, well, we did it once. We could do this again. Thankfully, I had another appointment with my RE. She's amazing. I wanted another person's perspective, and I wanted her perspective. She's known me for a while now, and she's been there and was really, really, really supportive. And we're feeling after that call, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And so what did we decide? We were on the fence about doing an egg retrieval, or do we do a transfer? Could not decide for the life of me. And given our history and now this new diagnosis, it's everything just clicked and became so crystal clear that even though I have my own emotions about this process and actually doing an egg retrieval, I felt all right, we got to get down to work. I don't know what's gonna happen. This might be so much harder than it was before. It might not. As young as I feel like I am 28. I am definitely not. And with all of these new diagnoses and things going on, I totally forgot as well. Oh my God, I have so many things. To backtrack. Not only all those things that I had just mentioned that they think is going on, but there's also signs of possibly an autoimmune condition of the ovaries. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? We have all these things going on. Some we knew, and now we know a lot more. And so we are moving forward with IVF round 4. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't. I mean, I wish we could just wave a wand and just know like what the outcome's gonna be, but we don't. So I feel very much at peace about this next decision, and I'm looking forward to moving through this process and getting to IVF transfers. I have filled you guys in on so much. Probably tomorrow I'm going to fill you guys in on our next steps and the next part of our process. Talk to you real soon.
So hold me tight through the night.
So I filled you guys in yesterday a little bit about where we are and a little bit more about my first RI appointment and really just how difficult it was to process all of this new information. About a month ago, I met with my doctor, my reproductive immunologist, to talk about my labs that we did. I was like, gosh, I could really use some good news. And that appointment was night and day from the first one. We went over my labs and the doctor had like a stack this big. We went through those labs so fast because there wasn't much to report, and that was the best news. Now, there were some things that came back, but they were things I had already known about. When I first did reproductive immunology, my labs came back kind of all over the place. However, I was already pregnant and things change as your hormones and everything are shifting. This was a really nice relief for me to feel like I had a pretty decent baseline. My natural killer cells in the past have been pretty high, which natural killer cells, they have to be in like a sweet spot, and mine were never in the past, and that was really, really scary and really hard to overcome, and it did take a lot of suppressants to try to get that number down. And thankfully my natural killer cells and all my immune labs, mine looked really good. However, that is not necessarily for fertility. So for fertility, my natural killer cells were elevated, but they were still far better than they ever were. It makes me really hopeful. I feel like I have a catch-22. I have a very sensitive system. I'm just a very sensitive person inside and out. The medications I take tend to give me a lot of side effects. So, and a lot of them I'm actually allergic to some of the ingredients in the medication. I've had rashes, I've had all sorts of full body stuff going on, and it's really tough. And I'm gonna be very, very, very curious what things are gonna look like when I start taking the medication. Our next steps, I have to wean from breastfeeding. We are now just to nighttime, but nighttime is like, oh my gosh, the hardest for us. Once we're weaned, I'm going to tentatively start Plaquenil, metformin, DHEA. According to some of the labs that we've seen, there are some signs that I might have autoimmune condition of the ovaries. I might be saying this wrong. This is just off of my memory from our conversation and like my take on it. Even though my AMH is high and I have a lot of follicles, some of my numbers were low. And so we're gonna give DHEA a try, see what happens for 3 months. I believe I'll get the green light to do an egg retrieval. In between all of this as well, I'm gonna be doing a lot of prep, starting back up with acupuncture and just getting everything ready for this 4th and hopefully final round. To sum it all up, meaning a 3-month prep, do the egg retrieval, surgery. I definitely think I wanna give myself a month to just breathe, let my body recover, and then go into transfers. So that is the tentative plan. I will keep you guys all in the loop I know I'm probably missing things, but I hope I was able to kind of fill you in on where we are, our next steps, and I'll go into more detail about all the reproductive immunology things as we continue and I get my protocol. That's basically where we are. So on that note, I'm gonna go home and pack, enjoy my coffee. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Love you guys, and I will talk to you soon.